parallel, teardrop, direct. It confuses me, and it might confuse you too, so I am about to attempt to understand it through artwork and visualization so that hopefully we both can start to grasp instrument holding pattern entry procedures. In order to help myself visually understand how to tackle instrument holding patterns, I'm going to use a ground reference point, which is going to be the Van Nuys Airport, right? I am going to use runway 16 right as kind of my main base of operations of creating this. What is our fake fix? We're going to call it Citrus Point. And Citrus Point is right at the area above 16 right where 16 left terminates. I'm doing this on purpose for myself because it is a nice, easy ground reference maneuver to look at when I give it a spin. The holding pattern is going, of course, to use the good old compass, the good old radial. And as you can see, I aligned it so that 340, the radial 340, will fix right into our Citrus fix and follow all the way down 16 right, you know, a nice little straight line so we can see it. So if our ATC told us to hold north of Citrus points on the 340 radial, our pattern would look like so. Using the standard right turns, we would go into on the 340 radial into Citrus points, and then we would loop around and we would keep doing this little loop-de-loop until, you know, ATC finally said, all right, you're good, come on in. So the bottom line here is that we are told that there are 3 ways to enter the holding pattern. We have a direct entry, we have a teardrop entry, and we have a parallel entry. And they tell you, well, in order to figure out which one you do, you have to do a little draw game. And so the draw game looks a little something like this. For a direct entry, you want to take the point at which you're flying in and take the area at which you are doing your holding pattern. So this whole area, you take the fix at which you come in, and then you draw 70 degrees and find this point, in which case this is going to be 270. You then take this point and cut it all the way 180 to its reciprocal, in which case is 0, 9, or 0. So a nice little direct west and east. That's really convenient for this example. So this big old 180 degree pie is your direct entry. In order to find the teardrop, you take your fixin right here, you take this little boy, and you cut it all the way to the 180 reciprocal again, and then you go into this way to the point where your direct was, and you get this tiny piece of pie, the smallest piece of pie. This is going to be your teardrop entry. And then finally, the rest, this medium-sized piece of pie, is going to be your parallel. Now, parallel, apparently, is the red-headed stepchild of the 3 entries because, according to what I have learned, if you had to choose an order of priority of entry, direct overtakes teardrop, teardrop overtakes parallel. So parallel is always picked last. And that's great and all. This is stuff you can learn in the books. This is stuff you can look up on YouTube. But here is where I started getting confused. What does that actually look like entering these? Because when I was first learning this stuff, I was reading up like, oh, in order to do direct, you go direct into the thingy. So I thought like, okay, so that means that if we flew anywhere on this 180, it could be this way, it could be this way, it could be nice and straight in, we would just follow, right? We would follow the pattern, follow the football field and fly our little loop-de-loop and keep flying and flying and flying and flying and flying and flying until we were clear to land. Teardrop, what does teardrop mean? At first I was like, okay, does that mean that you do one of these numbers and like, you know, do a little goofy teardrop? Is that what that means? Does it mean that you fly this way and then, you know, carve around the backside and then start looping? I didn't know. And then parallel, I was just like, parallel, does that mean that if you're flying here, 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 does that mean that these curve into this parallel because this line is parallel to the main one? I didn't know at the time. Apparently, according to my research, at all times when you're entering, the first thing you do is you have to overfly the fix. If you're going in direct, anywhere from here to here to here to here to all the way here, you must first hit Citrus Point, hit the point. Then you hit the head, you do the headshot, boom, like a sniper, right? And then after you snipe that head, you can go ahead and go around and do your cute little loop-de-loops. So here I am in the simulator sample. As you can see, I'm approaching my fake VFR looking fix. I pass the fix, I cut around, do the boom headshot, I turn around, and now I'm gonna start my happy little loop-de-loop. Teardrop, again, whether you're from here, 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 or here, all these points must converge first at the fix. And from there, you follow that line, whatever it looks like. It could look like this, it could look like this. And each of these lines are going to carve around the back side of the pill, right? All of these things are going to touch the butt of the pill.
Oh, look at me! I'm gonna go touch the butt!
And then we can carve inward, right? We can go in and fly our little loop-de-loops. And now the teardrop time. So I pass my fake fix. I'm about to touch the butt here. I give that butt a good touching. I turn around the teardrop, and now I'm straight in, and I can hit the fix again, and of course, you know, start my cute little loop-de-loop. Parallel. This is the one that was confusing. Apparently, same deal. We have to overfly the fix regardless of where we come in the medium-sized pie. And from there, we then fly, and this is where the name comes from, parallel to the innie line, the holding point, right? The holding radial. We fly in the opposite direction on the outside here, all right? So we're flying. And then you do this semi-teardrop until you can finally hit the radial that you're supposed to fly and then fly into the fix. And then you do your loop-de-loops. Strange, but you know what? That's the way they do it, okay? That's what the FAA says. That's what you're going to be graded on when your DPE is testing you to see if he's willing to give you your instrument rating. So that's the way it's done. Oh boy, the parallel. So this, of course, is the hard one. So I cut that side. I'm hugging that side. I'm looking at my compass to make sure I cut that side. Now I do that tight little fake teardrop, and I curve in, and there I am right in on the direct in. And so once again, I can go ahead and start my cute little loop-de-loop. So long story short, if you go in direct, you must boom headshot. If you come in teardrop after hitting the fix, you must touch the butt. Parallel, ride the side. Right? You can think of this like in those epic movies where the hero has his mighty blade and he slices across the horrid beast's belly and guts him. And then you can do your little loop-de-loop and then hit the fix and then yada 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 yada. And that, my dear friends, is how I was able to conceptualize instrument holding pattern entries. It's a bit goofy, but it helped me conceptualize it, and hopefully it helps you too.